YouTube, what it do, man? It's your boy Benji, and we are back with the crew. If you're new, please don't forget to subscribe. We got plenty to talk about, and a lot of that has to do with Odell Beckham. If you do not know Odell Beckham, I'm sure you've heard of the catch. The catch heard around the world. This is the catch that made it on the front of magazines, video games, and more. This dude was a viral sensation and had pretty much everybody dyeing their hair blonde at one point. Early in his career, he was putting up crazy numbers, but as time progressed, typically what happens with football players, they get littered with injuries. And with these injuries, he started to get traded. Fresh off of his time with the Giants, he was eventually traded over to the Browns, which ended up with an ACL tear. He was inconsistent on the field, and there was a lot of things that happened off the field, particularly on social media with people calling out whether or not Baker Mayfield was throwing the ball. He then played in LA, won a championship, but in the midst of the championship game, he got injured. He spent some time with the Ravens and the Dolphins, but more and more injuries started to pile up. And just like the page says, he was super talented as an individual, but it's tough to have a long career in the NFL, especially if you're somebody who's gonna be one of these forward-facing players. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that he's made a lot of name for himself as an individual, as a brand. He had motion. But one thing's for certain, OBJ made a lot of money in his NFL career. And he had a conversation with the boys on the pivot about what this was like.
If I didn't have $1 in my account right here today as we speak, I'm gonna be straight for the rest of my life. No question, right? I don't think everybody is in that. And when you've sacrificed your whole life to get here, and you're like, yeah, I played 10 years in the league. And I always explain this to people, I'm like, bro, you give somebody a 5-year, $100 million contract, right? What is it really? It's 5 years for 60. You're getting taxed. Do the math. That's 12 a year, that you have to spend, use,
Save,
invest, flaunt, like whatever, however, just being real. I'm gonna buy a car, I'm gonna give my mama a house, I'm gonna do, everything costs money. So if you spending $4 million a year, that's really 40 million over 5 years, 8 a year, And now you start breaking down the numbers, it's like, that's a 5-year span of where you're getting 8 million. Can you make that last forever? And you always hear the people who ain't us and ain't been in the position, be like, oh, well, that would last a lifetime.
Now that clip looks crazy. The full context of the clip is him really just talking about how a lot of athletes haven't been awarded the opportunity to really take a step back and do some financial planning, to get that education and understand that there are things that last beyond football. Most of these guys have spent their entirety of their lives training to be in this position, to then get to a position where, hey, maybe by 30, you're done. And now what do you have next? A lot of these guys don't have an identity outside of that. And that's where you see a lot of these dudes crash and burn. And you see issues with money start to flare up. You start to see issues with personal lives, etc. And I agree that it's not as easy as it looks, but from the clip, it looks crazy for you to co-sign that it's very easy for people to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. We see it with a lot of lottery earners. They have some reports that say nearly 1/3 of winners declare bankruptcy within 3 to 5 years after winning the mega. And a lot of that stuff is probably due to what Odell was talking about. Lack of financial experience, sudden lifestyle shock, which is an immense sudden influx of cash, leading to a lot of people believing that the new normal is all this money going out. Then you have a lot of predators, bad advice, and then addictions will flare up. There's a dude that had so much going on that he literally said he was happier when he was broke. But if y'all thought Twitter was going to let this dude live, you was mistaken. This man has a $10 million car collection, has the audacity to complain. That's all on him, flaunting and being an idiot. People living off 45 to 60K a year, but you talking about struggling with 100 million? He said 100 million not enough? He's just saying anything for show. He blew his money. I don't care if you're taxed 70%. If you fumble 100 million, that is on you. I hate when rich people talk about money because it never makes sense. You can tell by the way he speaks about money. The first two things he says is use and spend, and others had to bring up invest and save. The amount is irrelevant when your mindset is to flaunt and showboat. Poverty is a mindset. You have a man with millions in dollars living in one of the biggest economies of the world, not only telling you that he can't double that money, but that he may even go broke. A fool and his money soon part ways. Now, in the entirety of the clip, he didn't say that he would go broke. He wasn't speaking about himself because he mentioned that he was going to be straight no matter what. But he could see why X, Y, and Z could happen. I understand what he's trying to say. If you lack financial literacy and discipline, everything could be gone before you know it. People are posting. When Odell was wearing a Richard Mille that was marketed around $2.2 million in a football game. How about not buying all these expensive clothes? Don't have kids with 5 women. Not saying that's him, but in general, that's where a lot of it goes with these dudes. I always say that some of these people are awarded these opportunities that are supposed to be awarded these opportunities. Meaning that the system knows they gonna fumble that money. But it is easy to say that you would do X, Y, and Z if you went from literally making $0, because again, Odell's from that group of athletes who never got to touch NIL money. So you go from $0 to millions. You could make some pretty hasty decisions. $100 million over 5 years, let's say after taxes, agents, and leeches, you only see $30 million of that. If you don't achieve generational wealth with $30 million in 5 years, you have a serious issue. Roth IRA, a high yield savings account, wasn't taught to him at some point. It was. NFL has every financial service in the book for their players. You give an accountant $5 million of that just for investing in. You can 5x it over just the length of the contract. The generational wealth is $30 million when you live an average life. If you are not good with $30 million, you won't be good with $100 million. The issue is not the amount or taxes, it's living above your means. And that's what I think the truth is. You see people that, you might make $725 and spend all of it. Now, obviously, life costs a lot more than $725. But if you're making $725 a day, if you can't manage that, then who cares? When you start making millions, the same issue is going to persist.
And private.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Uncle, go crazy. Hold on, Uncle. Now, you be flying private, too. Now, I done seen you with your feet kicked up eating Popeye. You know?
Yes.
Now you see why I fly Spirit the past 20 years.
Ocho, but I don't fly everywhere private.
Right.
I don't go overseas private. You're talking about anywhere from between 10 and 20,000 an hour. If you fly overseas, how long is it going to take you to get to London?
Whoa, come back.
How long is it going to take to get to Madrid?
Wait, bring that back around. Did you just hop an hour or the whole trip?
An hour.
They gonna charge you by the hour to go overseas?
Yes.
Oh heck.
So if you go overseas, guess what, Ocho? You flying back cross, so that might be a $400,000 trip. Just like that. Maybe $1 million. How far you going?
Oh man, okay. Now here. Well, hold on. Time out, man. If it costs that much, what all these people be doing on Instagrams where they always flying private? Them people ain't making that kind of money.
Flossing.
Hey, see, I don't know.
Ocho brought up a good point. A lot of these people are just trying to keep up an image. And I think that's part of the problem. A lot of these dudes have to let it be known that they are who they are and they're making a bunch of money. And that becomes a part of their identity. When in reality, you are who you are and people are attracted to you because you are this athlete who's been able to do sensational things on the field. You don't have to brag to everybody or prove to everybody that you make all this money. And that's where a lot of the issues start to stem. These dudes start to live extravagant and flamboyant lifestyles. They want to drive the Ferraris, fly private, get the big chains, do all these things in order to prove some type of self-worth. Now, granted, this is not all athletes. It's not all people or high earners in general. But if you can make them money once, a lot of people would probably believe you could do it again. And I think that also speaks to what Odell was trying to say. You might be in the top of your field, literally. You might be at your physical peak. And you see that contract first come in for X amount of money, you say, oh, I could do this again and again and again. You got checks coming in every week or every 2 weeks, every month. Big checks. I can do this again. So it is very easy for this lifestyle to become your new normal.
20, 25, 30, 40, 50,000 a month.
Ooh.
50,000 a month times 12 times 18. How much is that, Ocho?
I ain't good at
So
math,
if you
but
playing
it's
600, so 50,000, let's just say for the sake of argument, let's take a round even number because everybody
on.
like round numbers.
Yeah.
Let's just say you paying 20,000 a month.
Okay.
Times 12. That's 240,000
Okay.
a year.
Okay.
Times 10.
Uh-huh.
That's 2.4 million.
Okay.
Now we add 8 more to that. You see where it went to, Ocho?
Yeah, I don't like that.
So
huh?
you about 3.8, you about $3.6 million, $3.8 million. That's one
child
child.
support.
Ooh.
Now imagine you got 1, 2, 3, 4.
I do.
Hey, yo, and yeah, these dudes are meal tickets for these people that are looking for child support money.
I do. I got a lot of them.
See, the thing that you did there was in Florida. See, in California, they Ricky
Right.
crossed the code.
But it also I had kids from people that really wasn't on that because they understood.
Yeah.
They understood it was about the child. So for those of you that have kids for me, I thank you. You know, I love you because we was on the same page and you weren't vindictive. You understood. I was always present. I appreciate y'all because them numbers you just ran off, I ain't never had to deal with nothing like that.
Shannon Sharpe is maybe not the best representative of this because we've seen he's been paying out some hush money over the last few months, but ain't gonna talk about it. He learned his lesson. Odell is even online, shaking his head. Boy, you can't say nothing in this world nowadays. That's why I've been in my own lane my own world and put away. Maybe I've been in my own lane, in my own world and put away. People love to take ish completely out of context in order to rationalize a statement in their own head. That makes sense to them. What a world. I completely get what you were saying, and I know how much they tax. Plus, athletes often have to make their earnings last multiple lifetimes, which can be tough because guys aren't budgeting for that. But most of the country is in debt, broke, so 99.9% of people can't relate. That's actually a good point. If you don't understand the backlash from what you said, then you are completely out of touch with reality. Uh-oh. In 2020, OBJ gets banned from LSU sideline for dapping up players and giving them cash after winning the national. And that's an NFL quarterback. I mean, an NFL player now. Oh my gosh, he was on camera. Like, they had the mics right there. All in all, it is an important context and an important conversation to have. These athletes are getting used until they can't be used anymore and they're on to the next. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this one in the comments below.